Tyranda, or Director Brewer, did we get a confirmation on Friday? Can he join us, Tyranda, Friday?
Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. He'll be there.
All right.
Okay, Mayor Brown, we're live.
Okay. All right, I would like to call our regularly scheduled meeting by Zoom on Monday, October the 19th at 4 o'clock to order. Heather, could you call the roll, please?
Director Brewer,
He's there. I saw him.
Director Minor,
Here.
Director Peavy, Assistant Mayor Teeters,
Here.
Director Harris, Director
He's
Hollabush,
here. He's muted.
I'm here.
Mayor Brown.
Here. So Director Brewer, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. I was muted.
Okay. Director Harris, are you on? Can we see if, I saw him on earlier. Can we check on that, Heather?
Yes,
I
sir.
think he's still muted. He's got himself muted.
Unmute.
Hey, Director Harris, you're on mute.
Okay. What about now?
Okay, you there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Okay. Right now, we have two proclamations that I would like to read. Item number one is a proclamation declaring the month of November as Business Appreciation Month. This item was sponsored by Director Harris. Business Appreciation Month, November of 2020. Whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, and our citizens recognize and greatly appreciate the contributions of local businesses to the overall strength, character, and well-being of our city. And whereas residents of Texarkana, as well as visitors to our city, benefit daily from the variety of services, products, and other accommodations provided by businesses located throughout our city. And whereas our local businesses, from the largest to the smallest, provide employment, wages, benefits, and economic stability to thousands of employees and their families. And whereas residents of our city benefit daily from the business sector's countless acts of charity and support for community projects and nonprofit programs that reach out to every part of our population. And whereas Business Appreciation Month in Texarkana, Arkansas provides an opportunity for our city and our citizens to recognize and celebrate the contributions that local businesses make in our daily lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Alan Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim November 2020 as Business Appreciation Month. In the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, we ask all citizens of this community to join with me and the Board of Directors in celebrating the richness, diversity, and success of our business community. So November will be Business Appreciation Month for Texarkana, Arkansas. The next proclamation is declaring November the 1st, 2020 as Extra Mile Day, sponsored by our administration. Extra Mile Day, November 1st, 2020, whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. Whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, families, friends, and community. And whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas is a community which chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas acknowledges that the mission of Extra Mile America to create 500 extra mile cities in America, and it is proud to support Extra Mile Day on November the 1st, 2020. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Alan Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim November the 1st, 2020 to be an Extra Mile Day. I urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but to also acknowledge all those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organization, family, community, country, or world a better place. November the 1st, 2020 will be Extra Mile Day. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting on October the 5th. What is the desire of the board with the approval of the minutes under the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of our last regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Teeters.
Okay, we have a motion by Teeters, second by Holly Bush to approve. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the consent agenda passes. So we have an item on our regular agenda today. It's adopting a resolution authorizing the issuance of franchise fee refinancing bonds. Jason Holslaw and with Stevens Incorporated, I believe he's joining us today. Finance Director Tyrone Henderson is here as well. Jason?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay.
Tyrone, did you want to go first or would you like me to present?
I'll just let you handle this one.
All right, Mayor, members of the board, it's good to be with you again today. A couple of weeks ago in discussions with your administration, what we have been looking at are just potential refinancing opportunities, given that interest rates are at extremely low levels, as I'm sure you're aware of. I had provided your administration a memorandum back in late September that basically outlined the refinancing of the 2012 and 2015 bond issues. The principal amount outstanding currently on the 2012 issue is approximately $7,920,000, with the 2015 bonds being at $3,250,000. What you have before you is basically just a refinancing of those two issues to lower the interest rate on those bonds, where we're estimating the interest rate to be a combined rate of approximately a 2.382%, lowered from a 3.77%. By lowering that interest rate to those levels, we're estimating the city could potentially save approximately $1 million just in interest savings alone. We're proposing to do this, though, as two series of bonds. One is a taxable series of bonds and one is a tax exempt series of bonds. The reason for that has to do with what we refer to as an optional redemption date. For those that have done bond issues in the past, you may recall whenever we issue bonds or whenever the city issues bonds, they tell investors that they will pay them principal and interest for a period of time. In 2012, when we issued those bonds, we told investors that we would pay them principal and interest for a 10-year period. So that optional redemption date is 9/1/22. For the 2015 bond issue, the optional redemption date is 4/1/21. That's important because under the IRS code, the city can issue tax exempt bonds as long as it does so within 90 days of that call date, 90 days or after that call date. So the series 2015 bonds, we will be able to refinance at a tax exempt rate. However, because we're still a ways away from the 9/1/22 date, we will be required to do that as a taxable series of bonds. For the city, that really doesn't mean anything as it relates to the tax exempt and taxable piece. But what it does is it just happens to be that taxable rates are substantially lower than where tax exempt rates were back in 2012 when we did the original issue. So all in all, when we do both series of bonds, by reducing the interest rates on those, even though one is a taxable and one is tax exempt, there is savings to be had from both series of bonds for a total savings of about $1 million. So in terms of timing and what this would look like going forward, if the city elected to move forward with the refinancing, you would be looking at more than likely, unless the election has some impact on interest rates, looking at coming back before you to authorize the final refinancing, probably in a December timeframe. So we would look to move as quickly as possible to capitalize on current rates. But keep in mind, if rates were to move away from us and it no longer made economic sense to do so, the resolution before you today, all it does is basically states the intent of the board to move forward with the refinancing if you can meet these certain economic levels. So with that, let me stop and see if you have any questions about the information before you.
Mr. Director, hey, what's the maturity time frame? Is it 15-year, 20-year? What's the?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do here is try to mirror what the current time frame is on the repayment terms. So the Series 12 bonds are set to mature 9/1/2038, and the Series 2015 bonds are set to mature 4/1/2040. In order to get your payment just right, we can do a little bit of adjustment regarding that, but those are what the current maturity dates are on those bonds.
All right, thank you.
And this is Director Peavy. Thank you, Director Brewer. I was going to ask the same. And would you give me the amounts again? Did you say 7 million and 3 million?
Yes, it's $7,920,000 for the 2012s. And then it's $3,250,000 for the 2015 bonds.
All right.
And some of you may recall back in 2015, we refinanced the bond issue at that time as well to save the city some additional monies at that particular point in time. And we just happen to be in a situation where rates are just happen to be lower than where they were before in 2015. And that's why this makes economic sense at this point to move forward.
Director Teeters, one question, but we're not locked in at these rates at all, correct? They're variable rates, and if they go up, we would have to revisit this, correct?
Well, you're locked in once we actually, what we refer to as price the bonds. Because we're going to multiple investors, the day we actually will go out to the market, to the bond market, and we will actually price the bond issue. Once we get those commitment from investors, it will be locked in and it will be fixed. But you're correct. In that interim period, the next month or so, if rates were to go up or go down, either way, that'll determine kind of what the city would decides to do moving forward. So we would work with your administration to make sure that, we meet your expectations. And again, if it moves away from it, it's no longer makes sense to do it, then obviously you're not out anything as it relates to any fees or anything of that nature.
Does anyone have any additional questions? Tyronna, do you have any comments?
No, sir.
You're all for saving $1 million, aren't you?
I'm all for saving $1 million. Yes. And I always think about our savings on an annual basis in terms of employee salary. And the combination of these two could save us over $50,000 annually. When you look at that, that saves us enough money to offset a salary. So I always think of it in those terms.
Okay. Any board members have any other questions for Jason or for Tyronna? Jason, thank you. If no other questions, then I would instruct the city attorney to read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing the mayor and the city manager in cooperation with the underwriter and bond counsel to proceed with matters preliminary to the issuance of bonds for the purpose of refunding the city's franchise fee structured refunding revenue bonds, Series 2012 and Series 2015, appointing an underwriter and bond counsel, approving the preparation and delivery of a preliminary official statement, and setting forth other matters pertaining thereto. Whereas the city of Texarkana, Arkansas has previously issued and there's outstanding franchise fee secured refunding revenue bonds, Series 2012 and Series 2015. And whereas the bonds refunded are subject to optional redemption prior to maturity on and after September 1, 2022 and April 1, 2021, respectively. And whereas the city can achieve debt service savings by refunding the bonds refunded, whereas the board of directors has determined to issue City of Texarkana, Arkansas franchise fee secured refunding revenue bonds for the purpose of refunding the bonds refunded. And whereas in order to provide for the issuance and sale of refunding bonds, the city has selected Stevens Inc. to serve as underwriter and Rose Law Firm, a professional association, to serve as bond counsel. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, that Section 1, such preliminary actions as are determined to be necessary by the mayor are hereby authorized for the marketing of franchise fee secured refunding revenue bonds by the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, in order to provide sufficient funds for refunding the refunded bonds, provided, however, that at such time as the mayor may determine to be in the best interest of the city, the final terms of the sale of the bonds shall be submitted for approval by the board of directors, together with the proposed form of the documents necessary for issuance of the bonds, including without limitation the bond purchase agreement and trust indenture. The sale of the bonds may be considered at a regular or special meeting of the board of directors as the mayor shall consider appropriate. Section 2, Stevens Inc. is hereby selected as the underwriter, and Rose Law Firm or Professional Association is hereby selected to serve as bond counsel for the refunding bonds. Section 3, the preparation of a preliminary official statement and its distribution to prospective purchasers of the bonds are hereby approved. The mayor is hereby authorized and directed to cause a preliminary official statement to be delivered for and in the name of the city with such provisions therein as shall be approved by the mayor, who is authorized to execute and deliver to the underwriter a certificate when requested by the underwriter to the effect that the preliminary official statement is deemed final for purposes of Securities Exchange Commission Rule 15C2-12. Section 4, the city hereby authorizes and directs the mayor, city manager, and other officers and employees of the city to carry out or cause to be carried out all appropriate actions to execute such other certificates or documents to evidence authority is authorized herein, and to take such action as they, in consultation with bond counsel and the underwriter, shall consider necessary or advisable in connection with this resolution and preliminary official statement in order to prepare for the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds. Section 5, this resolution shall be effective from and after the date of its adoption, passed and approved this 19th day of October 2020.
The board, we've heard the resolution that has been read by the city attorney. Is there any other discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
Director Peavy, motion to adopt the resolution.
Director Brewer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there anyone that wishes to speak prior to the board voting to adopt this resolution? If not, could you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Peavy,
Yes.
Teeters,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollowbush,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, and the resolution passes. Okay, at this time, we will, not knowing of any other regular business, we'll move into citizens communication time. I've been made aware of two individuals that wish to speak. The first request we received was by Miss Lindsay Smith. Miss Smith, are you with us today?
No, sir, she is not.
Okay. I would then, for the record, she did email us. She was interested in having concerns brought to the board about who's responsible for the Nicks Creek being overgrown. Is it the homeowner or the city? They said we've had a terrible snake problem since the flood. Do we have to worry about this if the damage will be worse the next time it rains? And also on Arkansas Boulevard, she says Arkansas Boulevard is very overgrown. The sidewalks on Arkansas Boulevard, there isn't any light. And what about sidewalks? Handicapped citizens, what are handicapped citizens supposed to do with wheelchairs, et cetera, on Arkansas Boulevard? So we will enter these statements into the record. It's not customary for the board to respond to citizens communication time. However, I do know, and all the directors probably are aware, that this is a primary concern of most of our citizens since the rain, of our drainage issues. I'm hoping that if you've had a chance to review the budget that we're going to be having a workshop on Thursday, we'll see that we are trying to address some of those issues in our budget for 2020. And that'll be forthcoming for information to be released to the public once the budget is approved. The next thing is Director Harris has requested to speak to the board concerning grass cutting request, a resolution that was passed on July 20th about the removing of the dilapidated houses and proclamation request. Director Harris.
Yes, I just got off the phone recently from a lady over in San Flat area, and I've been getting some other areas too about, and I even put in some requests what's going on with the grass cutting. They like to mean that the city just to stop cutting grass for the, I guess for the last month or so, too. What's going on there. And I did email Tyler and the city manager at the same time, I emailed in regards to this. And I thought maybe they would be on here to maybe address this. And then the other issue was about the house that we passed in dilapidated house we passed in July, as to when was they gonna be towed down, because it's some person was stating to me that one house has been on them almost for 15, maybe 20 years. And she glad, and I told her that it was finna get towed down, but I guess she said it'll be a wait and see item, but she glad to see that. And that's what I'm trying to find out. When the proclamation, is the city gonna do that, or they gonna contract that out at an approximate date? Because she wanted me to get back with her. And I didn't know if the house was on Kirby was on them, but that was in the same issue. And the other issue about the proclamation by business appreciation month, November. This has been going on since I think November 2012. I've been putting this on the agenda every year since November 2012, just to honor all the business in Texas County. And I think the proclamation, what the mayor read out, says it best. So I know use me trying to iterate as to what the proclamation states. And then the other one as to the Black business Texas County restaurant Black Restaurant Week. Well, Mayor Allen, I got about 3 requests for a copy of that proclamation. They said they would like to have that and put that up in their business, and that's the other issue I would ask. They just thought that was a good proclamation to business, and I know one business is no longer there. I don't want to call the location and nothing where the business not there, but they were just saying they thought there was a good proclamation to recognize because of the trouble they've been having. And I know all business probably been having trouble too, but it was special that, and they just want to know is in a way they can get a copy of that proclamation. Do you mind making up 2 or 3 copies of that proclamation so I get it to the business? And that was it.
Yeah, I can take care of that last request, and we can discuss this with Public Works and find out what's going on with these other issues. But I'm pretty sure, Director Harris, that there is I don't know if Tyler's on here or not, but we do have that mandatory waiting period. Once the board approves demolition of certain property, I think it's at least 90 days. But there's a notification process that we have to go through in that waiting period. So we should be getting close to that. But once we pass that resolution, I think, if I recall, don't quote me on this, but I think that those were coming out of the city funds, Public Works funds for those demolitions of those properties. And I'm not for sure if we're planning on doing those ourselves or if we're contracting those out, but I can try to get some of those answers for you.
All right, thank you.
Does anybody else wish to address? Yes.
I forgot one more thing. You remember I gave you some information in March about a kiosk that I had got when I came from out of town? Did you ever check into that about a kiosk for downtown area or some area? If the information that you and give about the restaurant and information about the city and all that, did you ever check into more information?
I do. Yes, I do have that, and that is one of the things that we were going to try to coordinate that through was with the chamber. But okay, those things are available, and the actual person that was really handling that with the chamber doesn't work there anymore. But though there are grants, I think, and some things available to have those displayed. I'm not sure how many we can get, but I can get an update on that as well.
Well, I know that Small City Media, they does that for free. They get in a contract with the city, and they get, based on the revenue, they share the revenue with the city after they implement their costs for putting it up and everything. So, but okay, but I'm not trying to put one item before one company before another company. I was just trying to find out information as to what's the status of that. That's all.
I understand.
Thank you.
I understand. Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments or wish to address the board? I've had several requests about when we are going to start meeting in person again. I've not talked to Kenny about this or Heather, so we can make a decision on that and find out again for some guidance from the municipal league about when we would start in-person meetings. Naturally, we're not meeting again and now until November, but we'll make a decision on that fairly quickly and let you know. All right, any other comments?
Mayor, I have just one comment. I would very much like to see us go back to in-person meetings.
Okay.
Teeters here. I certainly would myself. I agree that it's much better, but with the rise in cases across our state and multiple other states, I really don't see that happening anytime soon. I know that our school district we're getting more strict right now. We're seeing increases in cases and we're getting more strict, not more lenient, because we're seeing an increase. We have a lot of kids on quarantine, and we've got staff that are busy quarantined, and there's been one employee tested positive last week. So even though I'd love to go back face to face, I don't see it happening within a month.
Any other comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Teeters.
Stephen Hollebush, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Could you call the roll, please?
Brewer.
Here.
Minor,
Yes.
Peavy,
Yes.
Teeters,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollebush,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.